All right, so here we are, and I'm Valerie Milano. I'm the senior editor of the Hollywood Times, and I'm here in Los Angeles, and it's the December 23rd, about 5 p.m. And I'm going to let Luis go ahead and tell us a little bit about himself and where he is, and go for it, please.
Hi there. I'm Luis Gerard, the director of The Wake, and I'm in Melbourne, Australia at the moment. So it's a little bit of a big time difference over here. But yeah, happy to be joining the call.
Great. Thank you so much. Well, we're talking about his short film today, called The Wake. And I've been one of the lucky ones to be able to see it. And hopefully our viewers and our readers will as well. So I want to ask you, Luis, what was the inspiration behind this short film, The Wake?
I came up with the idea a long time ago because I wrote the screenplay, I think around 2016, if memory serves me well. But it was an idea for a feature, not a short, about these two young kids that grow up in a small town somewhere in the U.S. obviously, and they 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 grew up in a funeral home, and that was the basis of the idea. And like many ideas, sometimes they come from somewhere. I'm not sure exactly where this one came from, uh, although after I did the film, and way after I did the film, and I was editing the film, I realized where some ideas came from, but at the time, it just came up with I just came up with the idea.
Yeah. Well, from the viewer's perspective, is it safe to say that the younger brother was behind the shooting? We will put a little clause in here to say that there are some spoilers
Spoiler.
for the people that haven't watched it yet.
Um, Actually, no. It's something that you have to watch carefully. Obviously, the sound in the film is almost like another character. Um, and there is a moment in the story when the older brother is going down into the basement that you can hear a conversation taking place. Well, it's a one-sided conversation. It's the adult that's like telling things at the young boy, and I think that's when it's kind of like explained. But I wanted to do it in a subtle manner, not very black and white. So it left it like a bit open, but there are the clues to what happens, which is obviously, as you've seen the film, we don't show it because we're the camera's outside the house. That conversation, what the man says, it basically like tells you what happens. But again, even that is a little subtle. I'm trying to be a little cryptic, as I
Yeah,
don't want to like spoil it.
of course. Of course. Well, it seems like their quick gun draw game in their room was
Yeah,
kind of a foreshadowing of a lot of things that happen in the film,
that's
right?
true. Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Yeah,
That scene does foreshadow what happens later,
yeah.
but
Um,
not between the boy, but not between the brothers. But it does foreshadow. I'm glad you got that one.
yeah, yeah. Um, and the act of the burglary, well, that happens a couple of times. From the dead. Why was this important to be captured in the short?
Um, Obviously the the tone of the film is suspense. It's a drama thriller. Um, but so as these kids invade these homes, obviously there's a tension because you never know what's going to happen. So I think that's that's why the film, even though it's not a short, it keeps you like hooked to it. There's tension throughout the film from beginning to end. Um, actually I've been told, because you've seen the shorter version of the short, the actual film is 30 minutes long. And I
Oh,
remember most people who saw it always told me, wow, it doesn't feel like 30 minutes. That was like a very, but I did a shorter version just for film festivals because I was told that at 30 minutes, it would be probably a little hard to get into film festivals. So after I finished the film and did the sound design, everything was completely finished. I went back and did a shorter version, which is the 22 and a half minute. But yeah, going back to your question, I thought that that would help keep the tension. Also, like from the kid's perspective, um, the older brother's perspective, he doesn't think he's doing anything wrong. For him, this is more like an adventure. You could say he's a bit of a sociopath because he doesn't see any wrongdoing into his actions. But for him, these people have passed on, and they don't have the need for this. So it's his perspective of what's right and what's wrong, and obviously, and he brings his brother along because he doesn't think there's danger in it. At the same time, obviously, that they live in a small town, that there's not a lot to do. They're at that age where they're a bit rebellious, and also there's another side to that, and it's like because even though it's a short, so there are a lot of themes that I tried to like put into the story, but not it's hard to develop them in such a short time span. But obviously, it's also like a very much a father-son story. Uh, Again, it's a bit in the background, but obviously his father benefits from the dead. His father profits from the dead. His business is all about that. So the older brother is kind of like profiting from the dead in his own way, and in his own way, he doesn't see any wrongdoing. In um, in the longer version of the short, it expands a little bit more on the father-son relationship, especially that dinner scene.
yeah.
But also like you see the older son does not want to be his dad, and even though his dad is pushing him to do certain things, he wants to be the opposite. But at the same time, when you see him breaking to the houses, he's like very much a reflection of his father. He like drinks, he smokes, he does the same things that his father does. So even though it's the brothers relationship takes center stage in the story. Um, I think the father son relationship is also like a big part of the story, and you see a reflection of that into the breakings. So that's the long answer.
Yeah, no,
Long.
no, no, that's important. No, thank you for that. Yeah. So are there any lessons to be learned? What lessons do you want the audience to take from this, if so?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like the theme of guns is is another theme in the story, and how kids perceive guns. Obviously, in the States, like we're exposed since early age. At least when I was a kid, like guns were such a thing. You would get them during Christmas as gifts. Like plastic
Yeah.
guns. They're now kids are exposed to them in video games, movies, even cartoons. So it's like a cool thing to have. And that's how me growing up for me was like something cool. Seeing a gun was like a lifesaver. It wasn't something that I necessarily felt was dangerous. So how kids perceive guns growing up in our culture, it's a it's a thing in the story. That's why you see the older brother, the way he holds the gun, that scene in the mirror, like um, which maybe it's a bit of a homage to the Taxi Driver, but 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 it's also like the way they perceive guns as something that's not dangerous is definitely another theme in the story, and how having a gun, uh, bringing a gun into the equation can end in tragic results. So that you know it sounds a bit of a cliche, but the way it's played in the story, it's hopefully feels a little different
No,
because it's
that's
not
important.
very obvious, I think.
Yeah, important. Where did you shoot it?
We shot in Canada. We shot in a small town called Milton, about an
Okay.
hour, 45, maybe 45 minutes away from Toronto. but it feels like you're somewhere in the U.S. And obviously, like we have the flags. Like, I don't know, for example, every time you see the gun, this is like a little spoiler, but every time you see the gun, you see an American flag somewhere in the background.
Yeah.
Whether it's when the kid is opening the drawer and finds it, and you see like an American flag. Like, oh my goodness, when you saw them, I forgot the word. But there's one behind a drawer. You know, you see them. It's like little motifs, I guess.
Yeah.
But you also see them like when they're riding their bikes, and you know they're like there's a flagpole in the house, so it does feel like you're in the States.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
Where are you from?
I'm from Puerto Rico. I was born in Puerto Rico,
Are you shooting
but
something else? Is that why you're in Australia?
no, I'm in Australia. My girlfriend is from
Oh,
Australia, and I'm here spending the holidays with her and her family.
great. So or what else would you like to talk about the film? Because next I'd like to see if you're working on something else.
Well, about the film, the only thing I can say about the film, because without spoilers, you know, it was more of a personal story that I wanted to tell, and it was like also like an endeavor. You know, I wrote it, I directed it, I produced it, I even put some of my money into it. So, and I moved to Canada. I spent like 7 months in Canada, like scouting and casting. I spent almost a year in Canada looking back, between prep and probably about 9 months. So it was a long time. So you know, I didn't want to start the journey if I didn't have the right cast, the right location. So um, I spent a lot of time with it, and it was a labor of love. um, so and I learned a lot by the experience. Also, it was a way for me to get back into narrative, because that's how I started. I started um, with short films, and my dream was to go into narrative. But I took a detour and went into commercials and advertising, which was a great thing. It was a great school, but I I I realized, oh no, that's not what I wanted to do. So I decided to do the wake as a way to find my path into narrative work again, and that's how it came about, and that was the main reason I did it. But like I said, it was an older script. I wrote it. I think it was around 2016, and then when the opportunity arose to do a short, um, I basically pulled it out of the drawer, the screenplay.
Good. I very much enjoyed it. And so we'll be spreading the word on the Hollywood Times dot today. That's
Thank you.
us. And then our
Yeah.
YouTube channel's the Hollywood Times Official. So how can we find you in the film or anything else you might be working on?
Well, the film has been doing its festival run, and now that I mean, it's been doing the festival run for about a year and a half. It's been to a lot of film festivals. So now I'm probably gonna figure out. I kept it like in. I kept it like out away from like YouTube, and so because obviously if once it's public you cannot take it to film festivals.
Yes.
So I'll be putting it on in somewhere sometime soon, in a platform, probably on my website. I'll probably like put it as well. So it's luisgerard.com. Um, but and as for other work, yeah, I got after the wake, I went back to writing. So I've been doing a lot of writing. And there's a screenplay that I finished a few months ago, that it was acquired by a company in LA, Hidden Pictures, and Todd Liverman, who produced The Fighter. And they're trying to get it made. Let's see how that. But there's been a lot of conversations, and that's taken a lot of my time lately. So that's exciting. And there are about two other projects that I'm working on as well. So you never know with these things; they take their time, and it's a process. And that particular project, they acquired it like right before the strike. So things kind of like slowed down for a little bit, and that's not true. They didn't slow down. We did a lot of calls during the strike, but now other things are happening. So let's see what happens. So, but yeah, my focus is basically those three projects, and see which one happens first.
Good. Well, please keep us posted. Keep us posted. I'd love to continue to see your work. So that'd be
Oh,
great.
thank you.
Right.
That I'm glad to hear that.
Very much. Thank you. I really enjoyed it, and look forward to hopefully meeting you in person. So
That'd be
have,
great. Yeah,
have a great.
I was
That'd be great.
yeah
Thank you,
looking
Luis.
forward to it.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Have a great holiday season. Okay.
You too. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank